Welcome to hell! Gliese 367b is a completely different planet concept. A visit there would be truly disturbing for both your mind and your body. Mostly your body. This cosmic jawbreaker is a molten iron ball. It would be like you blasted off the Earth's crust with a planet-sized blowtorch and just left the glowing core. And it's locked in a tidal orbit with its red dwarf star. That means it doesn't rotate, so the perpetual day side cooks relentlessly in the star's radiant heat. Now, down on the surface, this planet gets pummeled with 500 times the radiation that Earth gets. Dayside temperatures reach 1,500 degrees Celsius. That's 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like a red-hot frying pan, except the pan would melt your hand like in a terrifying dream. And it's got one of the shortest orbits of any planet we've ever discovered. 1 year on this glowing iron marble passes in a head-spinning 7.7 days. And that's the least disturbing planet you're visiting today, because today we're taking you on a journey to find the top 12 most disturbing planets ever discovered. Planets that will vaporize you, squash you flat in a second, or turn you into Swiss cheese in a hailstorm of rubies. And that's not all. Stick around for the most disturbing planet ever discovered. The off-list nightmare planet that even I don't want to talk about. Starting off our list, earthly planets. These are planets composed primarily of silicate rocks and have a solid surface. They're easy to spot, and they're easy to stand on. Internally, they're made up of a hot, dense iron or nickel core, which is surrounded by a rocky mantle and topped with a thin outer crust made up of broiled mashed potatoes. No, made up of silicate rocks. Earthly planets have higher densities than gas giants and relatively thin atmospheres, sometimes no atmosphere at all. Fortunately, our Earth-like planet has an atmosphere, but not all Earth-like planets are as inviting as Earth. Far from it. Some are downright disturbing. So disturbing, they made it onto our list. Okay, second on the list, something steamy, and not in a good way. GJ9827d is a Neptune-like exoplanet, roughly twice the size of Earth, that orbits a K-type star. It has a water-rich atmosphere, but it's a hot planet. It's actually the first steam world ever discovered. Hot steam atmosphere? Sounds nice, even relaxing. So why is it on the disturbing list? Since GJ9827d orbits so close to its host star, it only takes 6.2 days to complete one orbit. The temperature on the surface is around 350 degrees Celsius. That's 600 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that the atmosphere is a dense, superheated steam, almost unimaginably deadly to human life. Now, to give us a first-hand feel of just how disturbing it is down there, well, we sent our very own galactic weatherman Chase down to the surface to report.
Hi, Peter. Yeah, I've landed here on the surface, and it looks kind of cloudy. Boy, am I feeling the extra gravity, you know? Moving around a little slow. I weigh twice as much. Whew. You know, I should not have had that second helping of lunch mush. Rico, why didn't you remind me to not eat as much? I'm in my summer bod phase. You know, I've heard it's a steam planet, so, looks pretty nice out there. I'm just gonna step outside for a quick second, enjoy a little spa time.
No, Chase, it's not the kind of steam you think it is. You should always check the exterior temperature before opening the door to the ship. Okay, up next, another Earth-like planet, and number 3 on the most disturbing list, This one's a real heavyweight champ. Now, at first glance, TOI 849b is nothing to worry about. It's about 85% the size of Neptune, or around 3.5 times the width of Earth. But it's the most massive Earth-like planet ever discovered. And it's a real weirdo. First off, it's odd that a planet this size orbits so close to its star. A TOI 849b whips around its orbit every 18 hours, and its surface temperature is a roasting 1,500 degrees Celsius. But that's not the weirdest thing about it. According to how planets form, it shouldn't even exist. The thing is, when a planet forms at sizes above 10 times the mass of Earth, the intense gravitational forces involved lead to runaway gas accretion as the planet pulls in massive amounts of hydrogen and helium, which leads to the creation of a gas giant. Not what we'd call an Earth-like planet. And TOI 849b is 40 times more massive than Earth. That's a disturbing amount of dense material packed into a tight space. Some scientists think that TOI 849b could have actually been a gas giant and, through some cataclysmic process, had its gas exterior ripped away, leaving a rocky core. But even compared to an intact gas giant, it's huge. Estimates put Jupiter's core at a mere 25 times the mass of Earth, so at 40? By any measure, TOI 849b is a beast. And it's disturbing because it has literally disturbed the common scientific wisdom on how planets form. This next one keeps me up at night. 4 on the list, and a new level of disturbing: an Earth-like planet hotter than the sun. Imagine a massive gas giant planet falling into a death spiral toward its own star. Then it smashes deep into the outer layers of the fiery star. A whole gas giant swallowed by a red giant star. But then, a miracle. The planet emerges. A superheated glowing ball of fire. Everything scorched and scoured off except its fierce glowing core. Well, that's KOI 55b. It survived the unsurvivable, a direct dip into the star it now orbits. The temperature on the surface hovers around 7,300 K. That's 7,000 degrees Celsius, or 12,500 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature on the surface of our sun is a mere 5,800 K, 5,500 degrees Celsius, which would be a chilly day down on KOI 55b. We sent Chase down to see for himself. Chase? We'll have to catch up with him later. Okay, let's throw some water on this heat. A disturbingly large amount of water. We're taking you to the tsunami worlds. Earth looks like a blue planet from space because it's 70% covered with water. But those seas and oceans we think of as so vast and deep are little more than a thin coating of moisture, because only a tiny fraction of Earth's mass is water, like only 1%. TOI 1452b is number 5 on our list, and it makes Earth look like a dusty desert planet. It has a density that can only be explained if it's made up of a substantial amount of material lighter than the heavy rock planets like Earth are made up of. A lighter material like water. And water could be as much as 30% of its entire mass. Have you ever been out on the ocean surrounded entirely by water, horizon to horizon? Well, on Earth, you always know that there's land to go back to, but what if there was no land anywhere? That would be disturbing. And that's only one unsettling thing about a tsunami world like TOI 1452b. because these oceans would be hundreds of kilometers deep. And where there's liquid water, there could be life. We even have watery moons in our own solar system that could host alien life forms. Jupiter's moons, Ganymede and Callisto, or Saturn's moons, Titan and Enceladus, are all believed to hide liquid oceans under their icy crusts. Now, whether it's primordial slime, a terrifying sea monster, or just an ocean without end, TOI 1452b would definitely be a disturbing place to visit. Okay, next, we're only at number 6 on the most disturbing list. Wait till we get to number 12. But right now, we travel to Miller's Planet, a tsunami world with a violent streak. Down on the surface, it's constantly slammed by rolling tidal waves over 1,200 meters tall. That's 4,000 feet tall. But the seas on this planet are so shallow that you can stand up in them, because all the water is bound up in these massive tidal waves. These crashing behemoths have erased anything standing, so the surface is flat and featureless. But that's not what's really disturbing about it. This planet is orbiting a massive black hole. And because of that, and the way space is warped so close to the black hole, anyone on Miller's Planet experiences time dilation. Yeah, for every hour down on the surface, 7 years would pass on Earth. If you visited this planet even for a handful of hours, when you returned, your grandkids would be the same age as you, which would be very disturbing for everyone involved. We sent Chase down to report. Chase? Chase? He doesn't seem to be moving. Oh, because of the time dilation. Every minute for us is 0.000016299726 of a minute for Chase. So he looks like he isn't moving, but he's just moving incredibly slow. We'll have to get back to his report in a couple of months or years. Okay, yeah, you might have guessed Miller's Planet, admittedly, is from the movie Interstellar, but the most disturbing part of this fictional planet, it could exist. The ideas behind it are all based in possible science. Okay, let's step away from the list for a second, because we don't have to go halfway across the universe to find planets so alien that they can't help but be disturbing. Right here in our own solar system, there's a moon where the lakes aren't made of water. They're made from liquid natural gas. Yeah, on Saturn's moon Titan, it's so cold, like minus 179 degrees Celsius, that water is like rock and methane runs like liquid water. On Earth, methane is an extremely flammable gas, but on Titan, it flows in rivers. And if that's not disturbing enough, in the drier parts, Titan has giant deserts covered by black grains of explosive hydrocarbon. If there was oxygen present, it and everything around it would combust disturbingly fast. Or how about a planet that has a thick layer of hydrogen under such intense pressure that it starts acting like a metal? The hydrogen in Jupiter's core is being crushed together by the force of 100 Earth atmospheres. It jams the molecules of hydrogen together so hard that they lose their electrons. What's usually a gas or even a liquid under some pressure becomes something entirely different here. It starts to conduct electricity like a metal. Now, here at home, the magnetic field of Earth is generated by an iron core, an actual metal. But on Jupiter, its magnetic field is generated by liquid metallic hydrogen. Anywhere where hydrogen is acting like a metal is pretty disturbing in my mind. But Jupiter really belongs in our next category, kaiju planets. Okay, let's get back to the list and onto planets that don't even have detectable surfaces. How's that for disturbing? We're heading to the murky, super pressurized depths of some very strange and disturbing planets, the gas giants. Gas giants are planets composed of hydrogen and helium, with cores of compressed gas and featuring light atmospheres. But that doesn't make them any less substantial. We even have 4 of them right here in our own solar system: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. But for this one, we travel 64 light years away from Earth to visit a Jupiter-sized gas giant. And number 7 on our list. As you approach HD 189733b, you're going to be drawn in by the deceptively pretty blue color. But that color is not life-giving water like on Earth. The reality is much more disturbing. It's blisteringly hot clouds of silicate particles high in the atmosphere. Even worse, down on an indistinct surface, you'll face supersonic winds that howl at 7 times the speed of sound. You wouldn't last a second. You'd be shredded by glass shards cutting through you at almost 9,000 kilometers per hour. Ugh. Okay, moving right along to number 8. Okay, how about a planet with so much carbon in the atmosphere that it's made of diamond? More exciting than disturbing, you say, but no. What's not to love about a planet of pure bling? Well, plenty. WASP 12b is described as pitch black. It absorbs 94% of the light that hits it, but it's so hot that it glows yellow. And in an extra disturbing twist, it's being eaten by its own star. Turning up the disturbing? Well, we visit number 9 on the list, and you're going to want to bring a special umbrella to this next gas giant. Did you know that iron can be a vapor? Yeah, that's just one disturbing fact when we're looking at WASP 76b. It's a planet the size of Jupiter, with a daytime surface temperature of a punishing 2,200 degrees Celsius. That's 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's hot enough to vaporize the iron on the surface and create an iron steam atmosphere. And when that iron vapor in the sky hits cooler zones, well, it condenses out, and suddenly the weather on WASP 76b turns to iron rain. Okay, we haven't checked in with Chase for a while.
Okay, Peter, well, I'm here, and you told me to bring my umbrella, so I brought my special one with a funny little ducky on it. It's cute. His name's Harold. And I'm here to check out the rain, so let's get to getting. Okay, this planet is interesting. So, Peter, what type of rain did you say it was going to be?
Iron rain.
Oh.
Life as we know it, in this case, Chase, wouldn't survive these conditions for a minute. Okay, next, let's take a spacewalk on the dark side. Disturbingly dark, and number 10 on the list, HAT P7B is one of the darkest planets ever observed. It absorbs 97% of the light that hits it. But that isn't the most disturbing thing about this extrasolar planet bigger than Jupiter. It's whipped by strong winds and clouds made of corundum, the mineral which forms rubies and sapphires. So when it rains here, it rains gemstones. But as you can see, with those high winds, surviving a ruby and sapphire storm on HAT P7B would be highly unlikely. Okay, next at number 11 is a Neptune-like planet with a disturbing take on ice. Ice is cold, right? Wrong. On GL 436b, the surface temperature is a blazing hot 300 degrees Celsius. This planet is made mostly of water, but there's no ocean, no steamy sauna-like atmosphere, because it's ice. Due to its intense gravity, this planet is made up of hot ice. The pressure on the water molecules keeps the ice in solid form, even at temperatures around 282 degrees Celsius. How disturbing would it be to have hot ice in your drink? Dropping a cube of extremely pressurized solid water that's been heated to almost 300 degrees Celsius into a container of your average beverage would be an explosive disaster. The forces unleashed as the hot ice decompressed would be like a bomb going off. A couple of moments ago, we were floating on an infinite ocean of water, but now we're going to be looking at a different kind of ocean, an ocean of liquid rock. We're moving on to hell worlds, and number 12 on the list. K2141b has a core of rock, an ocean of rock, and an atmosphere of rock? Tidally locked to its star, temperatures on the daylight side soar to 3,000 K. That's 2,700 degrees Celsius, melting the surface rock into a liquid ocean and vaporizing the surface magma. Supersonic winds whip the rock vapor up into the atmosphere and all around the planet. And when these hot clouds of rock steam hit the cold, dark backside, they condense and fall as rock hail. The Terminator zones between the searingly hot day side and the freezing cold night side is a terrifying strip of nightmare weather. In these areas, cataclysmic storms constantly add to magma mountain ranges that are slowly flowing back to the hot side, pulled down by gravity and grinding their way back to equilibrium. Now, speaking of weather, let's check in with Chase and see how our cosmic weatherman's doing.
Peter, as you can see, it's rocking and rolling down here. My hurricane meter just blew away, so I'm guessing it's really windy. Okay, so what's interesting here is Okay, I did not see that coming. Not exactly sure I'm gonna leave the planet. I guess I'll have to go look for that ship in a...
That is windy. Okay, we've reached the end of our journey to the 12 most disturbing planets ever discovered. Well, there is one more world left, but it's the kind of world that keeps even experienced astrophysicists up at night. It's a doomed world, an unlucky 13 on our list. And it's very deceptive. It has a spectacularly beautiful tale that hides a terrible truth. Hint, it's lava. BD plus 054868AB is an exoplanet circling its star 20 times closer than Mercury orbits our sun. It's literally a ball of bubbling magma flying through space. Yeah, it's so close to its star that it only takes 30.5 hours to complete an orbit. And down on the surface is a continuous global firestorm. The intense heat and radiation from its star are blowtorching the entire planet and stripping away the surface in a constant cataclysmic heat wind. It's losing the equivalent of a mountain of material every 30.5 hours. The vaporized rock leaves behind a trail of molten detritus, 9 million kilometers long. This ominous comet's tail stretches a full halfway around its orbit. An amazing sight, but BD plus 054868AB is dissolving right before our eyes. Yeah, it's a planet that's doomed to disappear. It's enough to give you an existential crisis just thinking about it. And if you were foolish enough to approach it, it would be impossible for anything man-made to last on the surface, even for a few seconds. Naturally, Chase can't land on this hellscape, but he can observe safely from orbit.
Hey, Peter. I'm up here in space, just doing a flyby. And if I'm being honest, it doesn't look that disturbing. Honestly, it's kind of beautiful. Beautiful red glow. Kind of reminds me of a beach or something.
Oh yeah? Have you seen the comet tail of superheated material yet?
The superheated what now?
Ooh, ouch. But don't worry, Chase will be back. He always comes back. And that's our list. The top 12, 13 most disturbing planets ever discovered. But there are lots more out there, and lots more being discovered every day. But you know what really keeps me up at night? What's the most disturbing thing about this universe to me is just how gargantuan the entire universe is, the true scale of it all. But that's a story for another What If.